I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty and Chip.
Shout out to the big homies running Christ and shouted us out on Facebook.
Yep.
We want to talk to y'all.
Yes, we do.
We got a full schedule. We got them. We got Nergal.
Yep.
A lot of people that we need to talk to.
I was going to say, and, oh wait, we might have landed them, so I won't say it.
Oh yeah, we did land that one.
Yeah, pretty sure we did.
That's coming soon. Coming soon. Come on, running Christ. The spots are filling up. We'll make space in our schedule, in our busy schedule for you.
We will.
Anyway, shout out to the band. I appreciate it. Shout out to Mayhem. You were the first. We appreciate y'all.
Yep. No doubt.
Also, shout out to Kai. Kai sends us updates on what we rate. He or she did a whole spreadsheet of our rating system.
No way.
Look at that. I'm going to send you.
Actually, really excited about that.
I'm going to send you a screenshot of that. That's freaking dedication.
Oh my gosh, I'm seriously so excited about that because I wanted to know which songs I gave a 10 to because I want to put them on my playlist.
I'm gonna shoot you that screenshot because that's like bananas to me that a person would.
It's freaking so long I won't even be able to put it in this. They'll see some of it. I mean,
look at that.
They can't see. And it's more than just that.
It's
even
a
when
lot.
he's showing you.
It's a lot. But anyway, thank you so much. I guess our rating, and then we had a bunch of songs that we didn't rate. Man, I mean you know what?
What?
If I was a villager,
yeah.
I would recruit Kai to get on my team for the points thing.
Yeah.
Even if she's or he is not a patron, like somebody who could manage your points like that.
No
and
kidding.
Ooh, shoot,
wow,
we probably
I'm so excited.
We probably need to hire you for something. All right.
Word.
So I just wanted to say shout out to you for the hard work. We got to find some way to reward this individual. We got to figure something out.
Oh, well, what do they want?
I don't know. But that's the thing is these people are so generous. They give their time and everything, and they never ask for anything. It's insane.
Ask us.
Okay.
The Bible says, ask and you shall receive.
You have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
Right? Ask for a call. Okay.
You won't be able to
okay, so this is Krigsgaldr. I'm pretty sure I pronounced it properly.
Okay.
Pretty sure this is going to be on some Viking shit. For sure. I'm actually pretty excited to hear this. This is an example that if you really ask and put out, it will get done. Because this is like one guy has been asking for this, and then like 2 or 3 people started asking as well. And so here we are.
Go.
language of the soul. What if I want to tell you to leave me and my beloved ones in peace? But you only understand the language of the soul. I let the blade be the talker, so my tongue shall become iron. My words don't might you roar a war, revealing my divine anger's arrows shall strike all action for the good of all. I see my reflection in your eyes. My new age has just begun. Sword is soft, the fire of the furnace. It hungers to be hit and wants to have 100 sisters. In the coldest state of their existence, they may dance the maddest in the morass of the red rain. Beloved brother, enemy, I sing my soul song for you, the lullaby of obliteration, so I can wake up with a smile, bliss in my heart and bliss in my heart, bliss in my heart. Coexistence, conflict, combat, devastation, regeneration, transformation. That is the best I can do for you. I see a great loom on the horizon. Promises a powerful sun to rise. No fire, no. It will make the old fires of purification, purification. Look like dying embers. 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 Look like dying embers.
What did you think?
I loved it.
The whole thing?
Yeah, I was waiting for it to get like super, super heavy. I thought it was going to make... I'll tell you what. If I had like Norwegian in my background...
Oh, I know.
I'd be walking around like...
You would be. Well, maybe you do. You need to do that test.
It's just very interesting. It's like the current climate we're in. It's like certain groups can be proud of their heritage and other groups can't be proud of their heritage. It's like, if you've got Norwegian heritage, fucking be proud of that shit. Seriously. I mean, everybody should be proud of their heritage.
I'm like, why should people not be proud of their heritage?
Well, oh, my sweet Sori.
What?
It is interesting. Like, as soon as white people start going, hey, this is, it's like, hey, you know? But, I don't know, man. They should be proud of that shit. And I'm glad what really, you know, I'm very surprised at the way that this is hitting me. And it's, I mean, because it was a very emotional thing for me to watch it.
Oh, really?
Because I felt like they did it right. They did their ancestors right. I mean, I don't even know if these people, I don't know if they're Norwegian or not, but like the way that they were and whatever and the paint and all that shit, it's like, yes, hail Floki. My guy.
See, I loved the
Floki's
whole
my guy.
beginning, like when the girl was singing, but then when the male things, the male, I don't know, I guess you could call them vocals came in, I was disappointed with the sound of that. I want it to be like this deep, like kind of masculine, like resounding sort of sound that was going to come from them. And that's what I was expecting. And then when that started, I was like, really? Oh.
Really?
Yeah, I was disappointed at that part. The rest of it I loved. All of the instruments, I loved her vocals.
That's interesting.
And then when I saw the laptop on the stage, I felt like laughing. I felt like that they shouldn't have that face toward the crowd. They should have done something to make that look along with their set.
Well,
but you see like that, like the guy with the fur and all that, he's like, on the computer, I'm like, why? Wow.
They're progressing. What do you want them to do? You're terrible. You're the worst.
But I loved the whole beginning. Like, it was very, I don't know, like, what they're singing about, but
I found translations very interesting.
Oh, cool.
When the guys were singing, it was crazy. The lyrics were insane.
Were they?
What do you mean?
I
right there.
didn't pay attention to the lyrics.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure...
I felt, though, a little bit sad at the beginning, like when the beginning part was going on, because I felt like we're all missing our roots. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever, we've become all about, like, I think that we should modernize. Like, don't get me wrong, I love modern technology and stuff, but I think that there has to be times where we simplify down to the earth. Like for me, I always picture sitting around a fire in a hut, or, you know, and then people are dressed up and they're going around, they've got their instruments, you know, she was banging the bones together, like those simple instruments that still make beautiful sounds, and then the vocals, like the voices coming out and coming together, and people going around the fire together, and like just that whole holistic experience. I want it with the earth too. Like it's with the fellowship of the people, but it's also with like the appreciation of the earth. Like I like all of that like mixed in, and I felt like that was, you know, because like her, you know, it almost looked like a crown, but it was the antlers, and you know what I mean, like, so I felt like she was like, they were exalting her like as a woman and who she was, but at the same time like not forgetting like we're more than just ourselves, like we're connected to everything around us and stuff like that. So I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah I just thought that they were really honoring their ancestors and all that good stuff. And then what they were talking about in the English version of the lyrics was insane. I wish I could find, I've got like a loose translation, but I'm not sure if it's right, but I'm gonna read the translation of what the thing says. But if you've got any Norway in your blood, find us the actual ones, because like this is like really cool stuff.
I feel like any Norway in your blood is not the correct way of putting that sentence.
I don't know how to any Norwegian.
Okay.
How about that?
In your Norwegian blood, yeah.
I don't think this is a song, but there's some overlap in the words. Like I think it's something like death is on your hands, we will slaughter your people, no mercy is given. We are fearless, death makes us laugh, war is what we want, you will die in this battle.
Whoa.
I think, I'm not sure. You know, so I'm actually...
That's considering the sound of it, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem to match the words.
Well, the way she was singing.
Yeah. It didn't, see, I was seeing like fellowship and like bringing together, not like we're murdering you all.
Well, I mean, but then look, when the guy starts sitting,
yeah,
when
what
the
is
guy
he
starts
saying?
talking, that's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? He's saying, what am I supposed to do if I want to talk about peace and understanding, but you only understand the language of the sword?
Oh, word.
What if
Wow.
I want to make you understand the path that you chose leads to downfall, but you only understand the language of the sword?
Yikes.
What if I want to tell you to leave me and my beloved ones in peace, but you only understand the language of the sword?
Yikes.
So it's like, you know,
Well, we see that in the Viking show all the time.
yeah.
People get motivated when the sword comes out.
Well, there's some people that just don't want peace at all.
Yeah, right.
You know, we got into so many conflicts in high school, and we had this one guy, and it just so happened that he was my best friend. So he, you know, he just wanted conflict. He just did, and it's like he just couldn't like stay where he was. He couldn't stay in peace. Like we always had to be involved in some sort of conflict all the time. And he was funny because he didn't have the self-awareness to know that he wanted conflict.
Oh.
He didn't have the self-awareness to realize that he...
Did you know it at the time or hindsight?
Yeah, I think it was more hindsight, because when I was in the middle of it, I was like, that's my guy, I'm going to be loyal to him, I'm going to live and die with him, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was just always like reacting
Right.
to what he was doing
Wow.
and being like, all right, whatever, all right, okay, let's do it. You know what I mean? But like he was just, there's just some people that just, they just have a thirst for conflict and like...
Yeah, well, I mean,
Blood.
I didn't get into like fights and stuff like that, but I did have a friend that it always seemed like every time we were around a group of people, like, were lots of times people wanted to beat us up. And when I was by myself or with other people, it didn't seem to happen, but like it always seemed like there was some and then they would be like, we're gonna beat you guys up. I'm like, why are these people talking about beating us up? So I don't know what was going on when I wasn't looking, but there must have been something happening because like it only happened when she was with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and like people only, you know, there's a certain language that gets understood. It's the language of the sword or
Yeah.
violence. Like there's some people like that's it. You know, it's only with violence that they understand things.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting, like when you look at the Bible, because there are violent passages in the Old Testament, obviously, and there's a lot of jihad in the Old Testament, and then you get to the New Testament, and it's like, oh, God changed,
Yeah.
you know, because then it
Yeah,
becomes
yeah, people
very,
think that a lot. Yeah.
then it becomes very non-violent, and I think a lot of people like feel that the obvious tension, like the atmosphere is different in the Old Testament than it is in the New Testament. And you know, and people come up with, I mean, people in church history have come up with it. The people all over the place have like come up with like different, why did God change? And to me, it's like, if you look at humanity as one collective person,
Yeah.
and it's like you go from, you know, infancy to maturity,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, you know, it's not that God changed from the Old Testament to New Testament, it's that we changed in the sense of, okay, now Jesus has come, so like you have a complete human understanding of how to actually function in the world without the necessity of violence.
Oh.
Whereas before, because you didn't have that perfect example, then you kind of, it was kind of like God saying, okay, I'll work with that, you got it, okay.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? Because like the greatest Bible heroes in the Old Testament, the vast majority of them were violent people. So like Moses, like, was a violent dude. Most people don't know this. Like,
Right. He killed a guy.
He killed a dude. You know,
Yeah.
they were enslaving
And
his
then
people.
buried him in the sand.
They were enslaving his people, and he lost his temper and killed the dude and
Right.
buried him in the sand. You know, and David was a warrior. He killed a bunch of people.
Right.
God said, "I'm not even going to let you build the temple. You got too much blood on your hands,
Mm-hmm.
dude." So it's like all these like Old Testament Bible characters. They're heroes. They're genuinely heroes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but like David, like he's known for his most famous act is killing. You know, David and Goliath. Mm-hmm. You know, people say like, "Oh, it's a David and Goliath story." It's like, well, who died?
Right.
Because like,
Yeah, you don't even focus on that. You're like, yes, he killed the giant, but you
Yeah.
don't realize, wait a minute, but there was
it's a
death in that story.
fucking bloody ordeal, man.
I
He
know.
chopped the guy's head off.
I know.
And then he
It's-
went.
you know
then
what's
he did the
wild?
ISIS there.
When you get used to like, does it really say that he did that? I know it says that he cut his head off with his own sword, but I didn't know it
I
said he
saw
pulled him
I
out.
saw a movie
Yeah.
where he did that, and then he went like that. I would bet I'd bet good money that that's what he did.
I mean, yeah, it's
Bonjour.
possible, but I don't know that it definitively says that. But it's so weird because, like, I've told you this before, like, when you grow up in Christianity, you don't realize, like, the different stories are as horrible as they are. Like, because they've been normalized to you because you've been told them since you were a child. And then like when you like grow up and you're like, I remember like I was telling one of my friends a lot about the Bible and stuff, and she was starting to read it and stuff, and like she was horrified by some of the things that were there because there's a lot of blood in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And either, you know, the sacrificial system, and they're throwing blood on the people, and it's like, whoa, dude, this is a lot. So
there's a sense in which, like, you know, and some of it, I mean, I don't know how historically accurate Vikings is, but some of it is like I guess it's almost like there was a conflict between some groups of people who wanted to be. This is actually a question for my Viking enthusiasts.
No spoilers, though.
It's like,
just answer the question.
No, yeah, like, were there people that wanted to be peaceful and farm and shit, and other people that are like, no, like, perpetual war forever, that's what we want to do, boom. And it seems like in their particular religion, like, the whole world's going to end in war, because Ragnarok is a big giant jihad, even with the gods, right? And you go to Valhalla and you're still fighting.
Yeah.
You know, and you die, and then you go to the hall and have all the meat you want, and then you wake up the next day and go back again and fight. So it's like, it's like, I can imagine like being in that type of a context. Well, I think that's a very that type of mentality carries a bunch of utility if you survive and subsist on going into other lands and conquering them.
Yeah.
So that type of ideology has a ton of utility, right? Because, you know, obviously, if you need to do that to survive. So I wonder if it was like started off as a small tribe. They have all these ideas about war in the afterlife and war in the afterlife because you needed to establish a base, right? And then you establish a base, and then you had one group of people saying, okay, we established a base. Now let's farm, let's chill. But then you have other people going, no, the whole thing was about jihad. And then the other guy's like, well, yeah, it was, but now that we've got a base, like, we don't need to do that anymore. Like, we see this type of conflict in Vikings. And so I'm just wondering, like, I wonder if that type of conflict is part of it, is part of the song, where they're trying to, you know, the conflict of people who are trying to be peaceful, while at the same time, you know, people have a propensity for violence.
Yep.
And you can almost, like, it's very interesting because it's almost like God talking to humanity, saying, like, I'm trying to talk to you about peace and understanding. All you understand is the sword.
Yep.
It's not that I wanted a bunch of swordplay in the Old Testament.
Right.
It's that you guys, that's what you want. At the base level of humanity, you guys find a reason to kill anybody for any reason.
Well, yeah, because he said not to kill, you know, and he said not to, like, he would say not to do these things, but people would do them anyway. It's like our kids, you know. We're like, we want to just be able to have a conversation with you. We don't want to have to ground you.
Right.
We don't want to have to make it so you have to sit out on that ride.
Right.
But you refuse to be managed by just us talking to you. Like, you can't do that. But if I ground you, all of a sudden you start exercising some self-control. So it might be like that, you know, like he wanted to be able to just...
Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
Let's just talk about it. I mean, that's what was happening with, you know, with Cain. Like, he had just talked about it, you know? And then it seems like people just... And then, really, he did... It's, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You have Adam and Eve, who, like, went exactly against what he said about the tree. He curses, gives them, you know, passes out curses, and then sends them out of the garden. But after that, do you hear of any punishments getting put out until the flood? Right?
Right.
So...
Well, the progression is very interesting because what happens is Cain kills his brother. God tries to reason with Cain. Cain doesn't want to hear it. All he wants is jihad. He doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And then what happens is God says, well, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to give you a death penalty. I'm going to protect you so nobody can mess with you. Well, then in the next chapter, in chapter 5, you see Lamech. And Lamech basically kills somebody for stepping on his shoes.
And then he basically makes some song out of it.
Yeah, and he made a song out of it. And then Lamech says, hey, God spared Cain, so I'm good too.
Yeah.
So then in the next chapter, you got 6, is violence begins to spread. So because God didn't kill Cain,
right,
Lamech took that as a reason to kill other people.
Right.
And because God didn't just kill Lamech, the rest of the world said, oh,
yeah,
well, if God's not going to kill anybody,
right, then we'll do what we want.
There's going to be no justice
right.
for that, then we'll do whatever we want. And then the whole world descends into violence.
Right.
So it's like, it's God, like, made an attempt in the Old Testament to try to deal with it peacefully, but the only thing that we would listen to was the sword.
And then doesn't it say that the kindness and long suffering of the Lord is meant to lead us to repentance? So like the reason that God was waiting so long and then eventually came to the flood action was because he was waiting for them to repent.
Right.
And to see, like, okay, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing this to each other. But it wasn't happening. Everybody just kept, and that's how bitterness and stuff like that is. Like, what's inside of you, you start acting that out on other people, and then it makes them angry, and they start acting on other people, and then, like you said, like the whole thing just becomes full of darkness.
I love the lyricism in this song. So he says, "You only understand the language of the sword," and I love the back and forth. And then it says, "So I let the blade do the talking, so my tongue shall become iron."
Yeah.
Because
like, whoa.
I'm trying to talk to you. You're not trying to hear me. Cool. I'll let my tongue become iron, and my words the mighty roar of war, revealing my divine anger's arrow shall
That
strike.
kind of sounds like, I know that he's not trying to sound like Jesus. I know
Right,
that.
right.
But doesn't it remind you of, like, in Revelation where it says that a sword comes
Sword
from the mouth?
proceeds from his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. For sure. And it says, revealing my divine anger's arrow shall strike. All action for the good of all. I see my reflection in your eyes, but my new age has just begun. I don't know. That might be a reference to something very specific to Norwegian thought or religion.
Oh, really? I just thought the my new age has just begun just meant that, like, before he was trying to just do the talking and figured out like that, but now a new age has started where violence is going to do the talking, and so I think that's what he meant.
I love this lyricism right here. The sword is soft in the iron of the furnace. It hungers to be hit and wants to have 100 sisters. That's a good line.
Whoa.
That is a good line, man. Like you're like preparations for war. It hungers to be hit and wants to have 100 sisters. That is such. Human beings are just fucking amazing, man. Mm-hmm. Like, and I love when like inanimate objects get anthropomorphized like that. Like,
yes,
the
I do
sword
too.
has 100 sisters. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
In the coldest state of their existence. See, because it's got to cool down in order for it to be lethal.
Mm-hmm. That's why they into the cold water.
Yeah, and I think that's like a really cool like lesson or analogy, because like when you're hot, you're malleable. Mm-hmm. You know, so like when a person's like really, really angry, there is a sense in which they're very, very malleable. It's when they become cold that they become fixed in their state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and
that's interesting.
I'm like the most like that. Like if I get very, very cold with a person, like that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. If I get angry and go back and forth with a person, then it you know. But once I cool off and all that, like that's it. They're done. So it was an interesting idea. In the morass, they may dance the maddest in the morass of the red rain. Woo!
What's morass?
Like
in the fall of it,
like,
and
like
the crazy of it, yeah.
Yeah, like the chaos and the whatever.
Yikes! The red rain is the blood.
Yeah. Beloved brother, enemy, I sing my sword song for you, the lullaby of obliteration. Woo! Yikes!
So I can wake up with a smile and bliss in my heart. That's kind of sad. My beloved brother, enemy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sad line for sure. For sure.
Yep.
But it's like, I was watching this thing one time in the History Channel. It was this American fighter plane, and he got shot up all over the place. And then the German guy shows up like right next to him. And so the American's like, I'm fucked. And then the German guy taxied him to American airspace. That. And ever since then, they both made it out alive out of the war, and they would correspond to each other until they both died. And they were trying to figure out, like, why did you do that? You know, why would you do? Yeah. Because one, he's an enemy fighter, so if you let him live, he's going to kill more Germans, and two, couldn't that be an act of treason? What the hell? And he saw him. He's all pathetic in his little plane. you know, and he had no ammo left, and his pain was all. He didn't even think he was going to be able to make it over.
Yeah.
When he basically escorted the guy and wouldn't let anybody kill him, and he saw him, you know, he saw him in the cockpit, you know, and it was something to the effect of like, I saw his humanity, or I saw,
wow,
because they're both warriors. You know what I mean? It's like they're both warriors. So there is a sense in which, and it's very interesting because even people that we fought and did terrible things to, and they did terrible things to us in high school, like over time we became, it wasn't friends like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, let's go to the movies or something like that, but there was like that mutual like respect and admiration, because most people will never do what people like that do.
And you guys were survivors, you were still there.
Well, yeah, most of us were,
you know,
and so most people won't do that stuff. So nobody knows. It's kind of a very lonely thing. Like, nobody knows what that's like except for the person that you're doing that with.
Right.
So it's like, you have this, and I hear it all the time, like with war or different agencies or whatever, like where, and like even spy versus spy stuff, or people from the agency, like they have such a very specific lifestyle that your own family doesn't know what the hell is going on. So like even an enemy, you know, whatever, you still kind of have that camaraderie with them, because, so that's an interesting one. Beloved brother enemy, I sing my sword song for you. Whoo.
Yikes.
I tell you what, man, I mean, it's terrible. It's really, really terrible, because, you know, like you're talking about war, but they make it sound so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like the song, you know, bless the Lord who, you know, trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. It's like, yeah! Spiritual war! Spiritual war!
Yeah, it's going after the demons!
It's going after the demons. They just look human, and they're from other countries. Okay. It's... There was a guy I was listening to on the History Channel, not the History Channel, but the Hardcore History thing, and he was talking about, there was actually this theory before World War I that war was good and that peace was terrible.
What?
Because war created camaraderie, and it created
brotherhood and stuff,
and the willingness to sacrifice and all the rest of it, whereas in peacetime you just default to materialism.
Interesting.
So his whole thing was, we need war and we need a constant diet. Of course, there was no World War prior to that. So like you had like you had one German unit that was the size of Napoleon's entire fucking army that could get wiped out in a day. Well, that changes things, but at the time, like, it was, oh yeah, we need war, because he's thinking a couple thousand people are gonna die like in the other conflicts. Then World War I happened, and nobody was saying that shit after that. Coexistence, conflict, combat, devastation, regeneration, transformation. Well, that's humanity. You coexist, then you have a conflict, then you have combat, then there's devastation, and then out of the devastation, regeneration and transformation. That is the best I could do for you.
Wow.
This right here, when he was talking in this part, I felt like there's this guy, he's an oracle. Oracle's usually a woman, that's in Greek. You know, the Greek world, but like that guy in the hood, the blind guy, and they lick his hand. I don't know why they lick his hand. Somebody explain that to me. No spoilers. But it seemed like he was talking in this part. Coexistence, conflict, combat, devastation, regeneration, transformation. That is the best I can do for you. I see a gray gloom on the horizon that promises a powerful sun to rise, to melt away all moons. It will make the old fires of purification look like dying embers.
Wow.
So there's something coming that's going to destroy everything.
But it's better.
I don't know. How is it better?
Well, it promises a powerful sun to rise. Because remember, the last thing that he says is regeneration, transformation. That's the best I can see for you. I see a gray gloom on the horizon that promises. So he's saying something terrible is coming, but then something better is going to follow it. So, and the reason I think something better is because it promises a powerful sun to rise. You always think of like when there's like a gloomy whatever, and then their sun rises, like that's the promise, something's coming. To melt away all moons, that means all night would be gone if you melt away all the moons. it will make the old fires of purification look like dying embers. So the old fires that purified them, like, those look like dying embers in comparison to the brightness of what's coming. Or are you thinking it's just like the obliteration of the entire thing?
Yeah, I think that this is actually...
It promises a powerful sun to rise. I don't think it sounds... I'm going to go with a promise of tomorrow.
I think this is talking probably about the coming of Christianity and that we were going to come in there and just wreck shop and destroy everything about them.
Yikes.
And so then a powerful sun to rise would be a double entendre, right? Because powerful sun, son of God, da-da-da-da. So
I see what you're saying. I don't think it has anything to do with that.
I think,
sticking to my original thing, and I'm saying it's a promise of a better thing is coming.
Well, if you look at their history, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at this like from a historical context and being like, this is not it. I think that this is extremely intelligent writing, where it sounds very nice, but at the same time there's like an undertone that something bad is going to happen, because fires of purification are never good in the middle.
No,
like
when you're in
the middle of fires of purification. No. So it says it's going to make the old fires of purification look like dying embers.
Right.
Like you thought you were in the fire of purification when you were just having these little skirmishes.
This is nothing.
Something is coming that's going to just like completely irreversibly wreck everything.
Yeah,
especially if they was any moon worship in their religion. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know, because I'm like almost completely ignorant about Norse religion and thought. But if there was any worship of the moon, that powerful sun melting away all moons is not a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't like. I mean, it could be yours. It could be a very optimistic view of their future, but
maybe moons means the leaders. Not the real moons.
Very possible, but it looks to me like this is a bad. But you know that guy in the show, like he prophesies, and sometimes it sounds good. Like remember when he was talking to Jarl Borg, he was saying, "Oh yeah, you know you're the eagle."
Yes.
And Jarl Borg was like,
"This
yes."
is a spoiler.
No, I didn't say anything. All I was saying, he was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And then you know, so sometimes like.
Yep, that's true.
Like. I don't know. I think that this is like this is next level, extremely intelligent writing. If that's where he's going, I'm not sure. But I don't know if it was Flanagan that kept requesting this. But there's a person that continues to request this, so I'm hoping that he can
fill us in.
Fill us in. Somebody give us a really good download of what the song really, really means, and actually send that to us in an email, because I'm genuinely interested in what's going on here. Because I'm very, very fascinated by this whole culture right now, because we're watching the show.
Yeah.
I think it's sad that they're not around anymore.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I've never been a victim of a Viking raid.
I was just thinking, yeah.
Oh, those conquistadors. Too bad we don't have the conquistadors around anymore. But at the same time, I don't know, man. There's a lot of beauty in that culture too, man.
Yep.
You know, and obviously for me, you know, like, you got a love-hate relationship with war and conflict and violence, so... you know, I love the idea of being like, you know, like it's so crazy, because when we were in school, we were so stressed out all the time. Like you're in hypervigilance like 24/7, but at the same time, like there is a certain level of like excitement, because anything can happen at any time. Like,
yeah.
And then, you know, you grow up and you get into other situations where, you know, whatever. But like, it is an exciting thing to like, hey, you know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, watching the show and it's like.
I know when the kids were going off to work, you were like, "Oh, that looks like fun." I'm like, and then the woman standing there as her husband and 2 sons are going off to war. She may never see them again, and she's like crying. I'm like, doesn't look like fun if you're the woman that freaking gets left behind.
She should have been a shield maiden. She should have been a Viking, and she could have done jihad with him.
I know, but you saw what happened to that first girl that did that.
What first girl?
Ragnar's son's girlfriendy, whatever.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
didn't fare well for her. If you haven't been taught that since you were young, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not gonna give any spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be smart.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I love the song. I
So
love
what
it
do
a
you
lot.
give it?
This is a 10 for me.
Oh wow.
And I'm not sure that if I didn't see the performance, I'd have given it a 10. It still would have ranked very, very high, but the performance was very, very important to me. Mm-hmm. The live show, the aesthetic, I get there is a laptop, and then there's another guy with glasses. I'm like, can't you wear...
You had glasses, I didn't see
I'm like,
that.
can't you wear contacts, bro?
My gosh, bro.
But it's like, come on, it's 2018. What are you gonna do? But I just loved it. I respect so much when people like pay tribute to their ancestors, to their fathers. I just love that. It's probably because I'm so cut off from my heritage.
Yeah.
But I just love that.
May very well be.
If you're Norse, man, be proud of that shit. For all. Long live Sweden. Long live Norway.
Hey. I'm gonna give it a 9, because I would have given it a 10 if those male vocals would have been.
You didn't even hear what the guy was saying.
Yeah, doesn't matter. It's just the Norwegian men in the Viking show that come across very masculine, and I just don't think that those vocals matched them. Those vocals matched the seer.
Well,
If the
how do you
whole
know
thing
the
was the
seer
seer.
isn't talking?
If the whole thing was the seer, but in the show, the seer doesn't take up the sword.
Well, no, the guys that are talking
Yeah.
and saying, "I'm trying to be peaceful here."
Yes.
He's not. You don't have to yell and scream to be peaceful.
No, I didn't say yell and scream.
Yeah.
It's like that deep vocals that almost sounds like a horn. Like, I don't know.
Maybe back a show.
I'm giving it a 9, but I really like them.
It's a 10. It's a 10. Shout out to the Norwegians. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Down.